There was a time, not so long ago, when earning $100,000 a year was the definitive marker of having made it. It was the golden milestone that promised a life of comfort, a suburban home with a manicured lawn, 2 reliable cars in the garage, and the quiet assurance that your retirement was a fortress no economic storm could breach. For those over the age of 45, this number is etched into our collective psyche as the threshold of the American dream. But today, that dream is experiencing a silent, structural collapse. If you are looking at your bank account and wondering why a 6-figure income feels like a struggle for survival rather than a victory lap, you are not failing. The math of the American economy has simply changed, and the goalposts have been moved so far that the old rules of financial success are no longer just outdated. They are dangerous. Before we dissect the mechanics of the shift and what it means for your remaining working years, I invite you to join our community of thoughtful investors and pragmatic observers by subscribing to the channel. We focus on clear-eyed analysis for those who value stability over hype, ensuring you have the insights needed to navigate this complex era. The erosion of the $100,000 salary isn't the result of a single event, but rather a convergence of 3 systemic pressures: the compounding weight of core inflation, the weaponization of the housing market, and the total disappearance of the traditional safety net. When we speak of inflation, we often focus on the price of eggs or a gallon of gas. While those fluctuations are frustrating, they are not what is killing the middle class. The real culprit is the skyrocketing cost of non-discretionary excellence. The high-quality healthcare, education, and insurance that used to be accessible to anyone in the middle tier. In 1990, a 6-figure income provided a massive surplus after these essentials were met. Today, that surplus has been cannibalized. We are witnessing the birth of the working wealthy, a demographic that looks successful on paper but lives paycheck to paycheck, paralyzed by the fear that one medical emergency or a sudden job loss could dismantle decades of labor. This is the new American paradox: earning more than 90% of the global population while feeling more precarious than ever. The housing market acts as the primary accelerator of this anxiety. For the generation currently approaching retirement, the home was supposed to be the ultimate equity play. However, the entry price for a standard middle-class life has decoupled from local wages. In most major American hubs, a $100,000 salary doesn't even qualify you for a median-priced home once you factor in today's interest rates and the hidden tax of property insurance premiums that are rising at double-digit rates. We are seeing a structural shift where the cost of shelter is no longer a manageable 30% of income, but a hungry beast consuming 40 or 50%. This leaves the over 45 demographic in a pincer movement. You are likely supporting aging parents who are outliving their savings, while simultaneously feeling the pressure to help adult children who find the ladder of homeownership pulled up and out of reach. It is a generational squeeze that the traditional financial models did not account for. It is vital to realize that this isn't a temporary dip in the cycle. We are seeing a fundamental revaluation of what it costs to exist in a modernized high-cost economy. Many of the tools we were told to use, the standard 401k contributions and the buy and hold real estate strategies, were designed for an era of low volatility and predictable growth. That era has ended. Understanding the gravity of this shift is the first step toward protecting what you've built. If you find this level of deep dive analysis valuable, please consider subscribing. It is the best way to support independent financial education designed for those who have outgrown the superficial advice found elsewhere on the internet. The most unsettling part of this transition is the lifestyle creep that wasn't actually a choice. It's cost of living creep. It isn't that the modern professional is spending more on luxuries, it's that the baseline for a normal life has been re-indexed. When you adjust for the purchasing power of 1980, today's $100,000 salary is worth roughly $38,000. We are effectively trying to run a marathon with half the oxygen we used to have. For those in the second half of their careers, this creates a terrifying math problem. If the milestone of 100,000 is no longer enough to save aggressively, how does one prepare for a retirement that could last 30 years in an environment of persistent structural inflation? The reality is that the gold watch retirement is dead. It has been replaced by a need for radical self-reliance and a complete reimagining of what an exit strategy looks like. We have to stop measuring our success by the gross number on our tax returns and start measuring it by the resilience of our cash flow. We must also confront the psychological toll of this economic gaslighting. You are told the economy is strong because the stock market is at an all-time high, yet your daily experience tells a different story. This disconnect creates a specific kind of middle-class trauma, a sense of being too rich to complain, but too poor to relax. This stress is a silent killer of productivity and health, especially as we age. The solution isn't to work harder at a system that is fundamentally rigged to devalue your currency. The solution is to pivot toward assets that benefit from this very volatility, and to ruthlessly eliminate the debt structures that tether you to an evaporating salary. We are moving into an era where liquid flexibility and debt-free living are worth more than a high-status title or a bloated illiquid net worth. As we look toward the horizon, the question isn't whether the $100,000 salary will return to its former glory. It won't. The question is how you will adapt to a world where the middle is being hollowed out. It requires a shift from a consumer mindset to a fortress mindset. It means prioritizing the preservation of purchasing power over the accumulation of depreciating symbols of status. It means acknowledging that the safety we were promised in exchange for our decades of loyalty was a byproduct of a specific moment in history that has passed. As you reflect on your own path, remember that clarity is your greatest asset. The more you understand the true nature of the pressure you're under, the less power it has to dictate your future. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If this perspective resonated with you, I hope you'll subscribe and stay with us as we continue to decode the shifting realities of the American economy. The road ahead is uncertain, but it is much easier to navigate when you aren't walking it alone.